This is the DIY Garden Minute by Spoken Garden, teaching you tips and tricks in your garden in minutes. Find more quick topics at spokengarden.com and click on the Listen tab. Today, I want to talk to you all about begonias. If you don't know, we have a YouTube channel where we teach and talk about many different garden topics. One of our videos about shade plants that can bloom all summer talks about specific begonias that are prolific bloomers and are a perennial. Well, this video has had enough comments about begonias not being perennials that we thought we would use this opportunity to tell you about this amazing plant and see if you can grow it in your garden. First, you need to know that there are 7 different kinds of begonias to grow, including the tuberous begonia we showed in our YouTube video. Now, they range from bedding plants to tree-form plants to even shrubs. Most aren't hardy in zones with hard frosts, but you can always bring them inside during the winter months too. And if they're not hardy in your area, then they are sold as annuals most of the time. And that's probably why a lot of people think they're just annuals, but they're not. So generally, begonias are hardy in zones 9 through 11, but they vary considerably with hardiness examples of 9 through 11, 13 through 15, 11 to 12, 10 and 11, and so on. It can vary. So here are the 7 different kinds or groups of begonias that you can grow in your area if they're hardy there, or if they're not, then just maybe grow them anyway, but bring them inside during the cold winter months or those hard frosts. So the first group of begonias are the semperflorens group. Now this group also includes the waxleaf begonias. These begonias are actually perennial, soft-stem, succulent evergreen plants that are grown as annual bedding plants in the northern climates. Flowers can be single or doubles, and they like to grow in full sun or partial shade and need well-draining soil. Now, the second group of begonias is the tuberous group, and these begonias will go dormant during the winter months in colder climates like cold hardiness zones 8 and 10. And I say 8 and 10 because we ourselves are able to grow these tuberous begonias, and we live in zone 8. So even though it might say zone 9 and above, we can still grow them and push that envelope, and you might be able to too. Now, these tuberous begonias will start to grow in mid-spring to early summer and flower into the early fall months. And they can have single, semi-double, or double flowers and prefer dappled shade and moist conditions. Now, the third group is the shrub-like group, and they are an evergreen perennial begonia with hairy leaves and stems. These mainly produce single flowers and like to grow in partial sun with well-draining soil. The fourth group of begonias are the winter flowering group, which are evergreen, low-growing, compact perennials that have thin, succulent stems and are often included with tuberous begonias, but they're really a different group. They come in single and double flowers, and they flower from late fall to mid-spring, and they have green and bronze leaves. They prefer indirect sun and moist soil. Now, the fifth group are called Rex begonias, or the Rex group, which are mostly evergreen and rhizomatous perennials that can be varied in their growth habit and like partial shade and well-draining soil and water sparingly. Now, the sixth group is called the cane-stemmed group, which are evergreen and woody perennials that are known as angel wings that have an upright growth habit with large pendulous panicle flowers. They like filtered direct sunlight and do best in well-draining potting mixes that are loam-based. These plants will need to be staked, though. Now, the seventh and last group of begonias are the rhizomatous group. Now, these are mostly evergreen perennials that grow from a rhizome. They are specifically grown for their foliage and for their brightly colored single flowers. Their growth habit varies, so you can find them growing either upright or as even low-growing spreaders. They prefer partial shade and well-draining soil, but water sparingly, as these begonias don't like to grow in constantly wet conditions. Now, if your garden meets all the criteria to grow begonias, then you can start adding them right now to your garden. Now, remember too that if begonias aren't hardy in your garden, you can grow them in containers and then bring them indoors when your outside temperatures drop to or below 50 degrees. It's important to note that pretty much all these begonias are susceptible to the disease botrytis, so do not let any water sit or stand on the begonia's leaves, or they will develop this or possibly another kind of fungal infection. We plan to keep talking about begonias in the next couple of podcast episodes, so stay tuned. If you are looking to add begonias to your garden, Eden Brothers carries a great assortment of tuberous begonias, including single and double flowered varieties. Make sure to check them out by following the link in this episode's description and use the coupon code SpokenGarden, that's all one word, at checkout for 15% off your purchase. Thank you for listening. You can find other quick tip garden topics on our podcast page at spokengarden.com and click on the Listen tab at the top of that page. And make sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss future quick garden episodes. We'll see you in the garden.